Focus. Click the links for Odyssey, Bit Chute, join the Telegram, or support the channel on Coffee, the various other links. So post office box nationalism, it's like 7-Eleven nationalism, or shopping cart return nationalism. There's so many other small examples of the difference between the worlds and the standards of people. So I saw this Santa Monica thing, and someone posted a meme on Twitter saying, so this is how it begins. Yeah, in many small ways. It's like all these little things just slowly add up. So the USPS temporarily suspends service because a guy, Devin Monger or something, he attacks the mailman, and California is a catch and release state. That's Governor Newsom. So there's not much. He's the guy who during the lockdowns had a dinner party at his Napa Vineyards or something. There's like a couple dozen people who were seated down at a table at dinner, all seated shoulder to shoulder, while everyone else is not doing those sort of things. So it's a weird, and actually funny enough, the Mayor London Breed of San Francisco also did some very similar things, where it was rules for thee and not for me. So California is a very strange place. So there's not much you can do in a situation like this with this guy in California attacking people, or attacking the mailman, which sounds crazy because it is crazy. What should have happened? The guy should get a year. He walks around with a golf club over his shoulder because he's out of his mind, right? And in California, that's just kind of vibrant enrichment. There's not much you can do about something like that. It's violations of the social contract, but not of the law. So these aren't the old days that everything's on film and everything's going to cause a riot. So if someone's walking around with a golf club over their shoulder, talking to himself or yelling at this guy, there's nothing you can do about it, at least not in California. So what should have happened? The guy probably should have got a year in jail for the battery on the postman to cool him out. And then people are confused because the postman didn't press charges. And it's like, California, doesn't make a difference. If you can, press charges because it starts the paperwork. But you press charges, the guy is arrested and released the same day. It doesn't matter if you press charges or not. And then he comes looking for you for revenge. So it's California has really painted themselves into a corner with that. So he should have got like a year in jail for the battery to cool him out. And maybe that would have maybe, depending, like, is he crazy, or is he oppositional defiance disorder, or what? And then possibly a few years in a prison work farm. There is the short-term tactical things California would need to do, like mental hospitals and work farm jails for people who need to be involuntarily committed. This means, California went through this hippy-dippy phase, and you see what happens with so much permissive liberalism. You got a lot of people who need treatment, and they go, "Oh, it's not politically correct to treat people anymore." It's like, probably need to bring back those mental hospitals. So this means that they are determined, dangerous, and unable to care for themselves, which this guy is. He's got mental issues and violently attacks people. He should probably be in a farm somewhere, probably the rest of his life, because he's unable to function peacefully on the outside. Sounds like an easy solution, but you need a population that wants to do that wants to live in a civil society, and that is not California, at least not yet. So the thing that makes all this so interesting is that most things are obviously on film nowadays. Even pasty liberal glacier gliders can see what is going on when you take a soft on crime, open borders, sanctuary cities approach to a nation. You get a lot of malum se crime, evil in and of itself. You end up with, and there's a video in San Francisco that just came out the other day of people will break into cars, and they'll sell this stuff to, I don't know, middlemen, or sometimes they'll take it to a swap meet, or the swap meet will be on the streets. It'll be at a set time. So you walk down some streets, and it's full of tables and things laid out that they're selling. And you realize 100% of the things they're selling on the street are stolen from cars, or they're stolen from flash mobs from looting. It's like, entire packages of like whatever. Like they just got it from Walgreens. And it's funny, over the past, I think 5 years, I heard at first 5 Walgreens closed like 2 years ago, but over the past 5 years, I heard it was more like 17, so I'm not sure about that. But 5 have definitely closed. And the mayor is saying, oh, it's really irresponsible for them to close. People need their pharmacies. It's like, people come in and they just loot from the shelves. No company can survive that. How do you should probably make that more serious crime so that they can be punished. So all those swap meets, or this like swap meets used to be like at a fairground type of thing. This stuff is like they're selling, like they might meet every Thursday at a certain street, and they'll just lay their stuff out. And you realize like 100% of that is stolen goods, either from cars or from stores. It's like what happens is the stores leave, and eventually the people have to start figuring out where they want to go. Because if you have a car in San Francisco, and yeah, obviously it's like don't leave anything in the car, but you also have a lot of tourists who will probably fewer and fewer come to San Francisco and have no idea how rampant the crime is. So you're in a kind of a tricky situation where you think like, so what does it cost a city? What does it cost the people in like lost time productivity to replace, broken windows that get smashed out, and then the lost time that's associated with that? It's like, you really kind of grind civilization to a halt when you do stuff like that. And then you openly sell the stuff on the street. Like if you can track your laptop has a GPS in it, it gets stolen, you can track to a swap meet. Your only position is to literally buy it back from the person who stole it from you. And if you left it in your car or somewhere, so, I mean, sometimes you're just taking it from people by force. It's like, that's life in a big city. So what happens with this permissive liberalism is you end up with a madhouse. In the Bay Area, you end up with looters, flash mobs just cleaning out stores. 5 Walgreens closed their doors over the past 2 years, and the San Francisco leadership was quick to jump in and try to deflect and say that the looting has nothing to do with the stores closing. It's like, well, a store can't afford to have $1,000 just get ripped off every day, and people don't want to go to a store where that's openly happening. They're rightfully scared of people who are willing to do that. So personally, I know it's horrible to say, but I hope the looting continues and even intensifies. The high crime is the only thing that will wake people up, and waking up your average San Francisco liberal is that's a challenge. That's a challenge. But that's changing too, because you're seeing something that is unsustainable. A situation of just open crime. It's like, well, the city itself needs to have an infrastructure that does business, and part of that business is stores selling stuff. You got to be able to go to the store without fear. You got to be able to park a car and do business in the city without fear of being attacked. And it's like, oh, San Francisco just kind of turned into New York, I guess, in the 80s. So here's the thing. People in prison are usually in prison for a reason, that they commit crimes. If you remove the punishment, then you will get more thieves, and stores will continue to close. And what do they call it? Retail deserts, where they go, people need the pharmacy. Well, you're going to have to end up turning stores into like, you present a scan, your face scan for the camera, you enter, a double door locks behind you, then you get access to the store, or you pull up to a drive-through, and you order ahead of time, and you pay ahead of time, and they just deliver your stuff to your car or something like this. It's like there's no you can't turn a low trust society into a high trust society without crime and punishment. So stores close, and there is another aspect that is obviously not politically correct to discuss on YouTube, but the issue of who is very publicly doing this, because we can see this stuff on videos in a way that we were not able to see 15, 20 years ago, because there are this high-definition security cameras all over any city, and people have cell phones. So you very clearly see what's going on and who's the originator for 90% of this. So the woke left will say there's an overrepresentation in prison, and just the blunt truth of it is that it's that way because actions have consequences. Anyway, what a careful video this was for YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all next episode.